that particular loan. Now, the bankers knew in 2005, 2006 that the markets were going to go south. They knew they had been... We know from the emails in front of Congress, they were selling crap and, I was glad to get rid of that piece of shit. And, all the emails from Goldman Sachs and all the criminal Lehman Brothers and all these criminal outfits, not even talk about Madoff, which is absolutely another farce, that this is going on. So we have no idea when the music stops how many chairs are going to be there, and that's
bingo.
The problem. And that's going to be the rush to liquidity. The only liquidity out there isn't gold or silver. Sorry, my friends, it isn't. Is cash. Cash in your local thing. Although I do suggest you have gold and silver when the world's. But on the day that it crashes, it's what you can buy a loaf of bread with. Now, if your local, my local French guy here, he'll take a silver coin off me, and I can pay. And I have specifically Swiss silver coins. I have French silver coin. I have some American, but they're no good to me. French people know silver coins, and they will accept them in a time of panic. Do people have some supplies built in? The markets go down. Look at the Northern Rock. They had a run on the bank, first time in 150 years. It's very possible it'll happen again. It will happen again. It's guaranteed to happen again, because we can never pay back all of this. We can't pay all the taxes. We're not going to pay all the taxes, and who are we paying them to? The poor Greeks. I've been to Greece several times. I've been to the Greek islands in my early 20s. I'm now 40. I'll be going on 45 soon. In my very early 20s to 30s, I went 5 or 6 times to the Greek islands, different places, Panos and Crete and blah blah blah, Corfu and this.
Lesbos.
I did it by train on an interrail when I was 19 with my girlfriend. We went from Switzerland into Italy, all the way down to Italy, got a boat into Greece, and we're backpacking in it. I got to know some Greeks, and I know some Greeks here in Switzerland. But one guy always stood out. I was in with. Prior to getting married to my ex-wife, we're on the holidays, and we got a little rent-a-car, and we're driving around Crete, a beautiful island, and we're coming around, and we went into the first town. Everybody spoke English, and I said, let's get out of here. They're all English drunkards. I said, no. Next town were Germans, or next village. Next village were all Dutch people. And then we got into some town that was kind of open, Spanish, lots of different people. And we stayed there. And we got to know a local taverna owner. And he was joking. And I said, when are you going to finish this road? They had this huge, big machine, huge thing for building roads. And the guy said, well, that's the 4th one we've had. He said, the other 3 have been burnt out. He said, don't worry about it. He said, the Germans always pay for us Greeks. And I think that's, I thought about it, didn't I? I'd forgotten all about it. That is the situation that we're in. They're all expecting Germany, to bail everyone out. But the Germans can't. I mean, it's another paradox. It just can't be done. So
we're coming up to mathematical impossibilities. I mean, especially considering these derivatives.
Yeah, it's pretty much when the ATMs stop working, or they can't go to the bank and get a withdrawal.
Let me just add in two little bits. As of mid-November 2011, Venezuela is going to start shipping their gold back. Their 99 tons are going to start to be shipped back to Venezuela. September of this year, I just want to pull up the actual statistics. The most U.S. 1-ounce silver coins, the Liberty Dollar, beautiful coin. The most they ever sold was in January 2011, and you know why? 6.4 million. The second highest month of all time since records start, which is I think 1986, was last month, September, 4.46 million. The third highest was November 2010. And then you have to go back to 1986 to get the fourth highest, which is 3.696 million. So even with the price of silver going down, we saw this huge correction that the American people are buying lots of Silver Eagles, crack smoking Republican.
Yeah, I think people are really diversifying. I mean, diversifying in the sense that if part of my portfolio just collapses, what will I have for currency or for trading? Things like that. I think silver is an option.
Anything you have online, you could cancel it straight away.
Yeah, it's gonna anything papers. Might as well forget about it. Hey, Crack Smoke Republican, I have a question for you. What are the patriotards harping about now? Are they talking about bankers, or are they still spreading new disinformation theories?
Oh, that's a good question.
I know it has something to do with the Constitution somehow. I don't know.
Yeah, they'll tie it back to, essentially the problem is there's a lot of debt, and the patriotards want to blame somebody for that problem instead of blaming you-know-who.
Jews.
And so what they do is that they look at 1,000 different things and just accuse people of problems, or we have to do this, we have to do that, be more constitutional. They get their economics kind of messy. Some of them have a pretty good idea. Actually, I read market ticker Carl Denninger a lot. I think he's kind of my patriotard temperature gauge. If he's upset about something, then I know probably a lot of other patriotards are upset about the same thing. And a lot of the confounded economics between the left and the right, it's all Jewish, it's all bankrupt, but it's been going on for since World War II essentially, and it's not getting better. I mean, the U.S. debt's getting worse. Obama's just a joke. What can you do? You look at these both parties, they're not a solution. The patriotards are not a solution. We need people who are pretty much a little bit above the party system in a sense. The patriotards are also backed by the Koch brothers, which are Jewish billionaires, and they got a lot of money flowing into those parties. So it's compromised. At least that's my perception. It's compromised.
And you're 100% right. These people are worthless. They're all going to be an obstruction. I mean, the best thing they could do is just shut their mouths, but they won't do that. I mean, I hate these people so much, especially what's so horrible, Ognir? I live in Europe, okay? I live in Sweden. Guess what? I hear that piece of crap, Ron Paul's name, being mentioned recently because, like I said, they were talking about bankers, and even here in Europe, they associate Ron Paul with anti-banker movement. And unfortunately, I try to explain to him that he's not opposition. He's opposition. He's controlled opposition. Mm-hmm. It's really horrible, dude. I mean, there's a lot of misdirection going around, even here in Europe. And I think our jobs are basically to, not to be shy about. We don't have to be Craig's from Republican. I know you're rather you're a front person, but you're also rather smooth. But even in your life, do you actually just, me personally, I just name the Jew. I don't give a damn, man. I mean, that's the first thing I say. Oh, how do you approach people when these conversations occur?
Oh, that's a good question. I think in the States, people are a little bit more sensitive to talking about these things, and you kind of have to be a little bit suggestive, kind of point out, the Madoff scandal or something like that. And people really cannot connect with what we're talking about in a direct way. So you kind of have to point to...
But Crack Smoking Republican, we can't connect with Madoff, so we don't know nothing about Madoff. He lived a beautiful lifestyle with all his crony Jewish buddies. He owns up to something, goes to prison, so we don't even know if he's in prison.
That's true. It's a lot of these guys get off, and that's why a lot of people are upset. Well, nobody's being tried on Wall Street for all their crimes. Well, that's because a lot of them...
Neither was Madoff. He gave himself up. He accepted, he said, I did it, send me away for 150 years. I'm still going to come back and get you.
And he's going to get his money, and his wife will probably get her cut of the money, too, even though she blames the Gentiles.
Oh, yeah, I remember that statement. It's the Goyim's fault. And let's not forget the Enron scandal. There's I know maybe I'm the only conspiracy theorist among us three, but there's a lot of talk that Kent Lay, the guy who's head of Enron, he never actually died. There's a lot of circumstantial.
He's on the beach with Saddam somewhere.
We won't go into Saddam, but supposedly there's eyewitness evidence that he is in South America in the Paraguay region, which you already know about. It has been in the Argentina section that's near Paraguay. A lot of Israelis have been purchasing land, and it's rather complicated. But There's lots of things going on at the moment.
We're talking about Patagonia, where the Bushes bought a place in the early 90s. The Bush family, with their own water supplies, very, very high up. I had someone at the time. I don't think people know. I did a little bit of radio in the mid 80s.
Yes.
And I recently have been given a couple of tapes because were recorded on tape. I played a character called Danny Boy, and it was a political show. And I read a script which I was barely able to read coming out of school. I'm a pretty good reader, but at that time to read do a dialogue, not trained as an actor, but I do have a few of the audios which I need to get converted from tape to MP3 so I can post them, see what I did say 20 odd years ago. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I would love to hear it myself. What a young audience sounds like.
Me too. They were very political, but at that particular time, my character Danny Boy was a little sheepish, slow Irish guy, and the woman that had the show, she had lots of characters. It was that sort of how she tried to portray the news. She was very anti-Bush. She was that was kind of her show, and she was very aware of these wars for Israel. And
I think I've actually heard of you. Heard her name before, and I think I did recognize the name. So you were already into conspiracy. You were already a conspiracy theorist long ago.
From long ago. And I remember doing a show about the Bushes buying this place up in Patagonia, and the lady, she's now dead. She spent a lot of time. Now, her sources of information were The Guardian, the International Herald Tribune, and she used to get the Le Monde Diplomatique every Friday. This is prior to the internet. I was just starting in computers. I was doing DOS at the time. I was actually working on DOS-based systems. So I'll just tell you, it was well before the internet. And down, if you do read the International Herald Tribune or some of these papers, down on page 17, column 3, whatever you call it, you'll find these little tidbits of information.
Yep.
Where, the information is released to the general public, but who's going to read that paper? So it's the story is buried, but they reported it. It's their obligation to report it. Something happened, and then they're covered. No one will ever find it until we got the internet and we can go back over the archives. So there was something she was making out with something got to do with the water supply, that they were going to start a world war and tamper with the water supply, and of course the elites would go over there. Now, she wasn't into Jews at that time. I certainly didn't know anything about Jews at that time. But there is something to it. We see movements, but you'll see one of these guys I follow on Twitter, this Jewish guy. He travels around the world on these. I don't know what he. He said, I'm in Africa today. I'm in South America the next day, and he's. What the hell is he doing? He's from Shamron in Palestine. I mean, what the hell is they're sending him over? Doing what sort of work is he doing?
It's called Mossad.
Scouting out future real estate deals.
Oh, exactly. I mean, that's 100% right.